Hello and welcome to our SMD 2 Candidate Forum. This is the 5th and final in our Candidate Forum series. So thank you for joining us. We are live streaming this on our NEISD Council of PTA's Facebook page. PTA's mission is to make every child's potential a reality by engaging and empowering families and communities to advocate for all students. Our school board is tasked with ensuring that our children receive the finest comprehensive education in a safe and secure learning environment, and we applaud all candidates for stepping up to help serve out this mission. The expectation of our audience is to listen respectfully to our moderator and to our candidates. Please no clapping, outbursts, or gestures. We encourage you to take pictures while you're here at the event today and post them to your social media with the hashtag PTA Votes. Our moderator today is Bo Carrington. Bo is the founder of BCA Executive Consultants, a boutique executive coaching firm based in San Antonio. Is a C12 chairman with Central Texas C12 Group. Bo is active with several local and national nonprofit boards, and he has graduated 2 daughters from NEISD, and his son is currently a sophomore within the district. Bo is a 10-year U.S. Air Force veteran, having served in Desert Shield, Desert Storm, has been married to Connie for almost 34 years. We're so pleased to have him join us to moderate today, and I'll turn things over to him.
Thank you, Debbie. Thank you for that introduction. I want to start by thanking all of you that are here today and online, because elections matter, and this is how we know which way we need to vote. So that you're all aware, all candidates who officially filed for NEISD Board of Trustees Single Member District 2 were invited to participate, and those who indicated that they would participate were provided with the questions ahead of time. Today, we have with us Jacqueline Klein, Jackie, Rhonda, Roland, and Tracy Shelton. All right, ladies, as far as the rules go today, again, I love being the one in charge. We ask each of you to respond directly to the content of the questions that are posed. We ask that you not engage with your fellow candidates and refrain from referencing other candidates' past statements. We want you to use your time to help those online and in person here get to know you and your views. Each of you will have 2 minutes for an opening statement. You'll have 2 minutes to answer each question, and then 2 minutes to provide a closing statement at the end. There is a timekeeper to my right who will keep you abreast of how much time you have remaining in your answers. She's there to help keep me on track. So, opening statements will be done in alphabetical order, and closing statements will be done in reverse alphabetical order, while the speaking order of the questions will vary throughout the morning. Now, got all that squared away? You ready to have some fun? Let's get started. Ms. Klein, the floor is yours.
Thank you, everybody, for being here today. My name is Jacqueline Klein. I am running for Single Member District 2 in NEISD. I am a lifelong San Antonian. I am an 18-year resident of the district, and I am the proud mother of 2 school-aged boys. I ran for this seat in 2022, narrowly losing to Terry Williams, the incumbent, and then I applied for the vacancy to the appointment in 2023, and now we are running again for the special election in 2024. I am campaigning on 3 core issues that I call my S's. Number 1 is safety. I want to ensure that students and teachers are safe not only inside of their classrooms, but from external campus threats. 2 is stewardship. Our budget is comprised entirely of taxpayer dollars, with Northeast getting nearly 60 cents of every property tax dollar that comes in. So when elected trustee, I pledge to vote no to any property tax rate increases, as your trustee is the one who sets your tax rate. The final and third S is student success. So post-pandemic, the students in my Roosevelt cluster are currently graduating at a proficiency of less than 37%. We want to make sure that our kids can read, write, do math, communicate effectively, and think critically. So I am passionately dedicated to improving the educational outcomes of all students in NEISD. So on May 4th, I ask for your vote for Jacqueline Klein, Northeast ISD, Place 2. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Rhonda.
Good afternoon. I'm Rhonda Rowland. I have 33 plus years as an educator. I've been a teacher, assistant principal, principal, and central office. I have a doctorate degree from Texas A&M in educational leadership. I'm running on integrity, experience, and transparency. I believe in teachers, I believe in parents, I believe in students, and I believe that we should ask for their input in everything that we do. I think that we should be good stewards of our money. I believe that we should have input from our parents and our teachers, our bus people, all the staff that we have at NEISD. I believe that we should be transparent in what we do and listen to all areas of our community. I think that we can do better, but I believe that Northeast is a wonderful school district and is on the way to being the very best. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Tracy. You get to go first in a minute.
Okay, right. So good afternoon and thank you for being here. My name is Tracy Shelton and I am a candidate for the Northeast ISD Single Member District 2. I seek this seat because as a mom of 3 young adults and the owner of a small business, a university instructor, and a global manager for a Fortune 100 company, I know what happens and how prepared our children must be when they leave grade 12. When we're not prepared, it looks quite different than when we are. The issues that are happening within our society, within our world, in terms of moving our economy forward, we need educated people to be able to solve those problems. And I see at the university those who are ready to think critically and who can problem solve and those who aren't. And it's a different experience for them. At work, in my workplace, those people that can come in and hit the ground running versus those who don't have the skill set. As we grow our economy, we really need people that are educated, and that means that we have to have our students educated. I tell my young adult children that if they see something, say something. We all say that. But the other thing I tell them, if there's a problem that you can solve, that you have the skill set to do, then you need to jump in and do it. I know based on my background that I have the skills and the time to help solve the problems that we have within our district. Thank you. But what I also know is that I can't solve them alone, right? The board works as a unit and it works with the staff, with the faculty, with the administration, with the parents and the community to solve the real problems of today and tomorrow. And
Thank you, Tracy. Now, you've all expressed your desire to serve as a trustee for Northeast ISD. So, Tracy, you get to go first now. What is the one thing that you love about NEISD?
So, lots of things. The more I dig into who we are and what we're doing, we celebrate what we do well, and we're open and honest about where we need to improve. And that's amazing, and it allows us to keep moving the ball forward, right? When we're celebrating what we do well, it builds people's excitement and enthusiasm. It builds our children's self-efficacy. They want to see more of that, right? When you've done well, when people told you you've done well, then you want to keep doing that and do more. And then when we're open and transparent about, this is an opportunity for us, and here are the hard questions that we need to ask. It gives us all pause, because everyone has ideas, but it gives us all pause. And then we have to think critically about, okay, what do we do? And it becomes the opportunity for us to rally as a community, as a body, to say, this is important to us, and here's why, and here are the things that we're going to give on in order to solve the problem that's in front of us.
Thank you. Thank you. Rhonda, what is one thing that you love about our district?
Well, I can't name one thing. I have a list. There is a spirit about NEISD of loyalty to one's school because it represents the community and their home. I love the way that football unites us. The Windcrest Water Tower lights up when we win. I love that NEISD serves all ages. The Academy of Learning and Retirement involves the older population. I love the openness to serve all children. I love the kindness of the students who serve in the Lions Club. I love to see the students perform music concerts and plays. They're so professional. I love to see the caring that our teachers show to their students. They go above and beyond. I love to see how the personnel and staff at Central Office is and how helpful they are. I love how much the people at the bus shop go the extra mile to make sure their students have safe rides. I love that our schools are neighborhood schools and that people can be involved right down the street from where they live.
Thank you, ma'am. Jacqueline, what is one thing you love about our district?
I think one thing that I love about the district is the variety of opportunities that students are provided to choose their educational paths. We have the Institute of Cybersecurity, we have data at White, we have KSAT at Kruger, which is the technical program. They just recently entered into a partnership with NASA, which I think is phenomenal. We're offering the early college program. We have CTE courses that allow children to graduate with certificates and go into professions. Life after 12th grade does not look the same for every child. We're giving them opportunities to graduate with college credits. We've got NISA, we've got CETA, we have all of these wonderful programs that we offer for kids to lean into what they're passionate about. And especially with something like the Institute of Cybersecurity, that's going to be the future of the job market. And so we need to make sure that we're not only educating these kids, but putting them on pathways where there will be hiring opportunities once they graduate, once they get out of college. So, and I think that a district of our size has a unique and special ability to provide things to these students that maybe wouldn't otherwise be accessible to them. So kind of just all of these innovative programs that we're doing that really bring out the best and cultivate the brightest kids among us, I think are really phenomenal.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, many of our candidates have listed on the websites that they want to advocate for parental rights. So, Rhonda, can you please explain what parental rights means to you and how, as a school board member, you implement those parental rights?
Well, parental rights are written in the Texas Education Code, and they are very specific for the board to follow. They include parents may petition the board to designate the school their child may attend. They are reasonable access to the school's administration to change their school's teacher or class. They add a class for their child if it's economically practical. They permit their child to attend a class for credit above their grade level, whether at their school or another. They permit to graduate earlier if their child completes each course required for graduation. The parent is entitled to all written records. The parent is entitled to all teaching material, instructional materials, and other teaching aids used in the classroom, including while the child is participating in virtual or remote learning. The parent is provided with a written explanation of options to assist students with learning disabilities. The parent is to be given notice of supplemental services and tutoring, and the parent may remove a child temporarily from a class or activity for religious or moral reasons with a written statement. The board must follow these rules from the state. They are not open for question.
Thank you, ma'am. Jacqueline, can you please explain what parental rights means to you and how a school board member implements those parental rights.
So as far as parental rights, I think that parents are the ultimate decision maker over the educational, moral, religious, all those upbringing of their children. Their rights don't stop when their children set foot on a campus. They are the ultimate determinant of how they're educated, and they're funding this system. And these are not our kids; these are somebody else's kids all the time. And so I think that a way that we give parents rights is to be transparent. Whether it's with their money, including line items in the budget, whether it's in curriculum, giving them accurate and comprehensive opportunities to review texts, curriculum, things like that, soliciting surveys, getting feedback, and then actually listening to what they have to say. The board, prior to 2020, voted 750 times in a row without a single no vote against a staff proposal. And I don't see where parents' voices are in that. They were unanimous votes. There was one abstaining vote during that time. Part of the question, I think, was that we had, we've got the board policies getting, a scorecard where we can assess the district, see how we're doing, involve them. We need to let them feel valued. We need to know that their input is being taken into consideration. I feel like after coming out of COVID and a lot of the situations with lockdowns and mask mandates and things like that, parents really did not feel like they were being responded to. And so I think that we need to involve them in the decision-making process and have them feel like they're valued.
Thank you. Tracy, can you please explain what parental rights means to you and how a school board member implements those parental rights?
Right, so parental rights is that idea that you can actively participate in your child's education. What is that? And that looks like something different for many different people. For me, it means I go to the parent-teacher conferences, I show up and volunteer, I maybe go to school meeting when there's an issue that's important to me, I read what comes out. From the school board's perspective, I think it means that you make it available for the parents, you make it easy for the parents to participate, because most parents are really busy, right? So what do we do as faculty, staff, school board to make sure that it's easy for our parents to know what's available, what the opportunities are, and where they can add input to help move through not the curriculum, because that comes from the state, right? That is, the state decides our curriculum, but move through whatever the issues are at the time for the child. So we've got them. I think it's making sure that parents know where to go to get the information, and they know how to insert themselves to support their kids.
Thank you. Thank you. Public education seems like it's under attack. So Jacqueline, what is your opinion on vouchers? And as a school board trustee, what would be your plan to have a presence, a voice, and a compelling message during the next legislative session?
So I do not support vouchers. When it comes to funding and the money, I don't think that there is sufficient accountability as it stands as far as assessments, the metrics for private schools taking those funds. They're not subject to STAR and some of the same things. We need a baseline to be able to follow where the money's going, and if they're doing the right things with it, if they're performing in a responsible manner with that. I am not unfamiliar with going to Austin and advocating, testifying, working with legislators. So of course I would go during the legislative session, meet with people, advocate, with the full weight and force of the district behind me. Ultimately, whether or not vouchers are passed is a legislative issue. We're just going to have to kind of deal with the fallout from that. And instead of looking for alternative ways to fund the district in the face of that, I think our best insulation and the best way that we can combat that is going to be to make this district one where parents want their kids to be here. We shouldn't be looking for ways to trap them in. They should want to come here. They should want to stay here. And we're only going to be able to do that through responsible financial stewardship, getting that money going into the classroom, and really improving the educational outcomes for our kids.
Thank you. Tracy, what is your opinion on vouchers, And as a school board trustee, what will be your plan to have a presence, a voice, and a compelling message during the next legislative session?
Right. So I oppose vouchers, and as I tried to formulate, like, how do you articulate it? I came across a really great quote from Dr. Jabber at UT Austin, and she said, "What's getting lost in the debate is the idea of education as a public good and not a private good. Vouchers really shift the concept of education to a private good that benefits the individual student or family, but education is a public good, meaning that it benefits not just individuals, but society as a whole." And that goes back to, as I was starting, I was talking about what I do, right, for a living. The education of our children supports all of us in the future. In our Texas Constitution, I think it was 1872, 1876, sets out this idea that we need to educate our society for the good of the public. And while it will be a legislative issue, what's incumbent upon us to make sure that we can maintain funds in the public is that we have the conversation and we start with the document that governs our state, and that's our Constitution. This is what we said. We said we're going to fund schools through revenue from the state. And how do we do that if we're doing some other things? And it's conversations with our reps, it's business and industry, it's talking to the governor and understanding both sides, recognizing that we have a common goal, and that's making sure that we have enough funds to educate our children in the public school system.
Thank you, ma'am. Rhonda, what is your opinion on vouchers? And as a school board trustee, what will be your plan to have a presence, a voice, and a compelling message during the next legislative session?
Well, I have to say that I have changed my opinion on vouchers because I have conferenced with teachers locally, and they have educated me because I'm open-minded to be educated, and they did their homework, and I appreciate that. I'm pro-public ed, and I've been an educator for 33 plus years, and I believe that the public schools offer the greatest source of learning available. No other entity, private or charter, can give students what public education has to offer. America is built on the belief that education should be free and accessible to all, including children with special needs. Dollars should be spent on public schools in the neighborhood where taxpayers live. They should not go to fund private schools. I have written to the governor and asked him to please rethink his opinion on vouchers. I have talked to Donna Campbell, and I would be most willing to advocate in Austin for this. I have been to, as state president of the Elementary Principals Association, I went to Washington, D.C., and advocated for funding for No Child Left Behind. I did that for 3 years, so I'm very familiar with advocating in a setting for government. So I'm perfectly capable of doing that in Austin. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, recent parent concerns have highlighted the need for checks and balances in our school system. The School Health Advisory Council, or otherwise known as SHAC, is one group that assists in ensuring local community values are reflected in our health education instruction. So Tracy, who is ultimately responsible for curriculum content, and do you think groups such as SHAC are a viable part of that process?
So the State Board of Education sets our curriculum, and SHAC is also something that's the law, right? It's something that we do across all districts within the state. And it is important that we have community voices, that we have parents and people that are in our community talking about what we're teaching in our schools. Ultimately, though, the curriculum, the TEKS, they come from Austin. So the lobbying for that we gotta go down 35.
Thank you. So Jacqueline, who is ultimately responsible for curriculum content, and do you think groups such as SHAC are a viable part of that process?
Well, choosing specific curriculums is one of the chief responsibilities of a board of trustees for the district. And yes, the SHAC is legally required, but at the same time, it's also a vital component of the decision-making process. That is one more way, and a trustee is only one person, and this delegation of discussions and, information gathering extends into the community. And I think that it's great for the committees to be able to have some of these difficult but necessary conversations. I think that delegating to the SHAC some of these, some of the information aggregation keeps the tensions on the board from rising so that we can work together and stay focused on the task at hand. There was though, there were some issues. I had come and spoken at a board meeting where the trustees were having a difficult time once the newly elected trustees were added to the board, that they were having a difficult time actually appointing their own representatives to the board. They were being told that the board was full and that wasn't allowed, there were no minutes. I do think that as vital a component as they are, we do need transparency there to ensure that parents are involved, that they feel like they can understand the process and see the conversations that are happening. But I absolutely support their input. Now the trustees make the ultimate decision, but it's based on the recommendations of the SHAC and the feedback that they get from their constituents, because at the end of the day, we are making decisions on behalf of those people, and our voice on the dais is not our own, but theirs.
Thank you. Rhonda, who is ultimately responsible for curriculum content, and do you think groups such as SHAC are a viable part of that process?
Well, the curriculum to be taught and the number of minutes is determined by the state. But the choice of curriculum or textbook to be used is up to each individual district. Before each adoption, teachers and ideally parents have a chance to review and vote on all potential options. Sometimes there is a curriculum committee made up of teachers, parents, and community members who do this process and make a recommendation to the board. SHAC is a tremendous group that truly reflects the voice of parents in the community. It is proven to be effective without being militant. It is highly respected and gets positive results.
Thank you. Question number 5. Special interest groups have very strong opinions on the education system in Texas. So Rhonda, as a school board member, how would you respond to special interest groups who advocate for censorship of existing curriculum and resources perceived by them to be in conflict with their personal beliefs?
On the board, or really in any situation which is strongly volatile, it is best to be silent and listen. Let emotions wind down. Try to find some areas of agreement. Make statements in a calm, non-threatening, a non-accusing voice. Be positive, never personal. Look for past issues where consensus were made, and always be respectful.
Thank you. Tracy, as a school board member, how would you respond to special interest groups who advocate for censorship of existing curriculum and resources that they perceive are to be in conflict with their personal beliefs?
Right. I think we have to remember again, curriculum is defined by the state. Once it's defined, the NEISD, the curriculum specialists, they vet it, they make sure we look at the resources that we're going to use. One of the beautiful things that the district offers is the ability to opt in or opt out on certain classes, right? So that becomes an opportunity for people who this does not quite work for them to be able to say, this, this won't work for my children. It's really important, though, that we never stop listening and hearing. So it's one thing to listen, but you have to be able to hear what people are saying and understand really what their major concern is. Then you can really begin to give people help solution for what the real issue is for them.
Thank you. Jacqueline, as a school board member, how would you respond to a special interest group who may advocate for censorship of existing curriculum and resources that they perceive to be in conflict with their personal beliefs?
Well, I feel like this is touching a little bit on some hot button social issues and political issues that we hear about in the news. We're talking about things like books and sexual education curriculum. As far as in NEISD, the book issue has not risen to the board level. It's been handled administratively. There have been reviews. There were some books that were removed. And so, I think that those mechanisms are working the way that they should. There was outcry and there was a response. With sexual education curriculum, we talked a little bit the other day in one of our forums about kind of the changing role of school districts and, not every child has a parent or a guardian at home that they can sit and talk about this stuff and be guided kind of in that moral capacity. And so it's incumbent on the districts to be responsible about how we fill that void. But I think also too that parents have kind of been started to be considered as a special interest group, and at the end of the day, there are stakeholders, there are customers, and what we're seeing is parents that aren't happy, what we're seeing is parents that are leaving. And so, we need to consider though that we have a very diverse, while we are considering that we have a very diverse population that we need to accommodate. I do think that there needs to be some more responsiveness from the board in terms of these issues that are being brought forward, and the fact that we are losing students and parents are walking out the door, and I think that some of these issues are why. It goes back to parents feeling like the district doesn't respect them with regard to how they want their children educated.
Thank you. Now, charter schools continue to expand and be built within our district. So, Jacqueline, how do you feel about the expansion of charter schools in our community? And what can NEISD do to retain these students? It's in there.
Yeah, for starters, I think competition is healthy. I think that parents who feel as though the system or the school district does it as abusive to them should have an option for where to go. I think that we, as far as what we can do to retain these students, the district needs to start having a little more accountability for why parents are leaving and address shortcomings. We want to change educational quality, we want to make our campuses safer, and we want to bring these people back and attract new parents. And we can only do that through increasing, the quality of output that we've got. The population in San Antonio is growing, yet our enrollment continues to drop. And I don't think it's hard to figure out why. I feel like a lot of parents and teachers are telling us why they're leaving, and the district is not listening. So, the number one thing that we can do is listen and be responsive. It's not really that hard.
Thank you. Tracy, how do you feel about the expansion of charter schools in our community, and what do you believe NEISD can do to retain these students?
School choice, as long as I've been alive, has always been available for parents, although I've probably heard about it more in the last 18 months than ever in my life. And I'm a parent who has availed herself of those choices. My children have attended private, they've attended charter, they've attended foreign local, and they've attended public school. When our local elementary school didn't have the structure, as I was a long-term sub, I was like, not quite what I want. We chose private. That was a choice. But then my baby, who had auditory issues and couldn't speak, we had to go to that same district where I was paying my tax dollars for them to help him so that he could learn to speak, right? Those are the things that we're doing in this district as well. When we lived in Belgium, we chose to put our kids in a local school where there was no French, and so they were the FSL kids, right? French as a second language, much like what happens in our district today. People choose something else when what they see in front of them does not work. The district is doing a yeoman's job of making sure there are magnet programs, making sure there are special opportunities for special education, and there's lots that falls under special education. You have school choice. So I was talking to a mother the other day, and was courting her vote actually, and she was like, "Oh yeah, but I live in my kids are zoned to MacArthur. We only go to Roosevelt because we want ETA, right? School choice." So those are the things that we have to continue to do at NEISD to make us an attractive space for for families that are coming to San Antonio. Because the first thing you do as a mom when you're moving is you look and you see where are the best schools, and then you decide where to purchase your house. We want to make sure that we continue to be the best, and the competition has nothing on us.
Thank you. Rhonda, how do you feel about the expansion of charter schools in our community? And what do you believe NEISD can do to retain these students?
Well, again, I do not feel that these schools can offer what our public schools can offer. I think that we do what we say we are doing, if we do what we say we're doing, valuing teachers and staff, involving parents and stakeholders in decisions, being good stewards of our monies, presenting engaging lessons that lead students to success and graduation, cultivating safe and disciplined schools, students and parents will stay in NEISD.
Thank you, ma'am. Final question. Rhonda, you get to kick us off. What was your level of volunteerism with NEISD before deciding to run? And please describe how you spent your time with the district and the areas that you provided support. It's number 7 on my page, but
I'll get there.
you got it. All right.
Okay. NEISD and I go way back. My daughter went to Wood Middle School and Madison High School. And I did a mentoring program with Montgomery and Walsham Elementary Schools for my dissertation for my doctorate degree for Texas A&M. And since my retirement, I have volunteered with San Antonio Youth Literacy at Windcrest Elementary. I have served as an officer in Windcrest Women's Club. Their main fundraiser is Christmas Light Up. I hope you've been to that. To provide caps and gowns for seniors for graduation at Roosevelt. We give checks to each school in our area. We gave electric pencil sharpeners for each teacher in our area. We collected socks, hygiene products for students. We've given pencils to teachers for testing. And I have personally collected supplies, student prizes, teacher treats, bulletin board materials, and books for students. This was all before I got into the campaign.
Thank you, ma'am. Jacqueline, what was your level of volunteerism with the NEISD before deciding to run? And please describe how you spent your time with the district in the areas that you provided support.
Well, when my kids were in elementary, it was difficult for me to have the time and the access as a single mom working full-time. Anytime there was a PTA, I was a member of the PTA always. Anytime there was an event, we showed up, volunteering, donating, being involved. And so that's something that I would want to make more accessible to parents, make it easier for them to get in and feel like they can do the same. And then now I work with organizations, nonprofits, children's fundraising charities that we raise money for scholarships and kind of for kids in the community. So,
Thank you. Tracy, what was your level of volunteerism with the NEISD before deciding to run? And please describe how you spent your time with the district and the areas you provided support.
So I'm grateful that I've had the privilege to actively participate at every school that my children have attended, and to a lesser degree now at the universities. Because my little one had lots of issues that related to food and his health, I became excited about food as medicine. So when we moved to San Antonio, I started a business with the hope that part of that would be teaching young people about food and how we could leverage it to heal ourselves, to learn where it comes from, and how do we leverage it for our good. And in that work, I've been able to do classes with young people across the city where we learn about the history of food and where it comes from and how to eat it and what does it look like when it's not so good. And so I'm really proud of that. I'm also really proud of the fact that when I came to San Antonio, I co-founded what's now called Access IT, originally the Coding Collaborative, where we teach young kids 7 to 18 coding, everything from scratch to Python and Raspberry Pi, so making a positive impact in the lives of kids in ways that I know are really important, that being food and computing, which I know is next.
Thank you. Take a deep breath. That has concluded the questions for today's forum. So let's go with closing statements. And as I promised, Tracy, you kick it off. Each of you will have 2 minutes for closing statements. And as I said, we will go in reverse alphabetical order. Sorry, Rhonda, but you're in the middle again. Tracy, the floor is yours.
So my name is Tracy Shelton, and I'm running for this position, and I ask for your vote. I approach this from a glass half full. There is lots of work to do. You've heard the answers to all these questions. There's work to do in our schools, public education generally, and throughout our state. I do not have all the answers, nor would I pretend to, right? But I am pragmatic, and I am a problem solver. I know how to run a business. I know how to build a coalition. And what we must do is bring everyone to the table. So there will be a district, a board of 7, plus administrators, plus community, plus parents. Everyone has to have a voice in order for us to continue building an NEISD that rivals all the other districts within the city and in the state. We do that collectively, but we do that by starting with the assumption that we all want the same thing, which is to educate our students, and 2, that the glass is half full, that there's just work to be done, and I'm ready to work. And so I thank you. You can go to my website, learn more about me. I'm happy to talk after the session, but I'm Tracy Shelton, FOUR, NEISD2.com. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Rhonda.
First of all, I want to thank those who made this possible, PTA, organization, and I want to thank those who came to listen and those online who will listen. I want to encourage you to vote. Voting is putting your beliefs into action. It is the truest form of democracy that we own. Use your voice wisely. Your children's future depends on it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Jacqueline, you get to close it out.
So in closing, I am running for the seat because I want to get NEISD moving in the right direction again. I want to start backing up our teachers, being a voice for our parents, give the classrooms back to the teachers, give them the necessary protections and support that they need. I want to get a handle on the budget, work at chipping away the deficit, which we're only going to do through responsible spending and taking a good hard look at where our money is going, and our constituents know what we're doing with their funds. And then, of course, student success. I want to get educational resources going into the classroom, improve teacher salaries so that we can attract and retain qualified staff. Our goal as trustees is to provide quality education regardless of the wealth, social standing, race, sex, economic background, achievement of any of our students. My sincere desire is to bring diversity of thought to the board and remove any and all obstacles to success for our kids. So you can also visit my website. It's klein4neisd.com. You can reach out to me through there. There are a number of issues that we didn't get to discuss today that I really am passionate about and have enjoyed discussing. And so please feel free to reach out. I want to be open, available, and accessible to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jacqueline, Rhonda, Tracy, for coming today and letting us learn about you. We sincerely appreciate your willingness to engage with this group. And I'm going to turn it back over to the NEISD Council of PTA President, Debbie Weissmuller.
Thank you so much. Thank you, candidates, for your participation this morning, to our audience online, and also thank you to our in-person audience. I want to remind our in-person audience that if the candidates brought literature, you can pick that up on the back table if you desire. I want to note that those flyers are being passed out by the candidates in their campaign. They're not being distributed by NEISD or the Northeast ISD Council of PTAs. Early voting begins Monday, April 22nd. Will run through April 30th, and Election Day is May 4th, so we do hope to see you all at the polls. PTA is a membership organization that advocates, and we do have PTAs on all 67 of our campuses here in NEISD. You can, if you want to get involved with them, you can reach out to your local campus or at joinpta.org. We hope you enjoyed the forum. Thank you for your advocacy and support on behalf of the nearly 60,000 students here in NEISD, because the future of Texas really is in our public schools. Thank you.